Hello everyone. Today's episode is a little different. We are not just covering one news story. We are diving into two incidents that show the real status of women in the Indian politics. On one side, we have Nitish Kumar playing full-on pressure politics in Bihar. On the other hand, Delhi's chief minister is literally sharing her office and her powers with her husband in the official meetings. Basically, this episode is when women are just faces and men are the real players. So stay tuned because today's dose is a little heavy. Let's start with Bihar. The NDA's seat sharing plan is not even finalized yet. But what did Nitish do? He directly announced his candidate Santosh Kumar Nirala from Rajpur got JDU's ticket. And he made the announcement right in front of BJP Deputy CM Samrat Chaudhary. Why waste time discussing seat sharing? I've already decided. Now that's pressure politics. Nitish knows this very well. JDU won 12 seats, the same as BJP in 2024. Chirag Paswan has 100% strike rate. BJP performed really badly. So now he demands one extra seat for his party. This is not random. Every move is calculated. His message is very clear. He holds power with 12 seats. After elections, this could change in his favor. If JDU does better, BJP will be forced to play like a little brother. And here's the twist. He is doing this before the vice president elections. The warning to Modi ji. I've got 12 votes. Watch out for cross voting because in secret ballots, consign does speaks. Now over to Delhi. Right near Modi ji's house, a totally different government is working. Here is the story. Rekha Gupta is the chief minister. Manish Gupta, her husband, is sitting with her in the official meetings giving the directions to her. Wait, what rule in the constitution allows this? You take your oath alone but govern as a couple. Aam Aadmi Party's attack was sharp. The Delhi government has become a Fullera Panchayat, a brilliant reference. Just like that web series where women leader was only a face but her husband ran the show. Here is the big irony. Modi ji often attacks family politics in his rallies. Their uncles and nephews loot the system. The whole family sits and eats together. But right outside his house in Delhi, the CM's husband is in every official meeting. This has happened before too. Once the CM was not even present, but her husband led the meeting. Officers from MCD, DJB, PWD, DUSIB are taking orders from him. So, which double engine model is this? CM engine plus husband engine is equals to triple engine. And what about the oath of secrecy? That's taken alone. Yet here, governments is done as a couple. This isn't just Delhi's issue. It happens all over India. India has 3.29 million elected panchayat leaders and 46.6%, that's about 1.5 million that are women. But the actual participation is really low. In UP, Bihar, Haryana, Rajasthan, the Pradhanpati model is really common. Pradhanpati means the woman is elected but the husband controls the power, exactly like the web series story. The government even made the panel suggesting strong punishments to stop this, but in Delhi, it's openly happening. But here's the truth. The Modi ji government says loudly, women's reservation is coming in 2026. Women empowerment is our priority. Save the daughter, educate the daughter. But the ground reality in Delhi, the CM's husband runs meeting and no action is taken. Either pick a strong female leader who can really rule or admit that this crisis is wrong. Look at the timing. When Delhi was flooding, the CM was busy inviting a spiritual guru home. Clear priorities, right? Both Bihar and Delhi show the same pattern. In Delhi, Nitish Kumar is technically a partner, but he's blackmailing BJP with his 12 seats. Rekha Gupta is technically the CM. In Delhi, Rekha Gupta is technically the CM, but her husband is running the government. In both cases, women are either tokens or tools. It shows that men still dominate Indian politics. Look at how the media reacts. When Kejriwal was in power, every flood became the breaking news. Headlines read, Delhi is drowning, Punjab was always blamed for pollution. Now, with BJP in power, same floods with very little coverage, less pollution from subtle burning, no big analysis. CM's husband in meeting shown only through Aam Aadmi Party's tweets. This is selective outrage. Criticize when it's opposition, normalize when it's in power. While we argue over the drama, real issues are buried. In Bihar, what are the real development goals? How has NDA really performed? What is the plan for the common people? In Delhi, how is governance actually improving? What about waterlogging, pollution, infrastructure? What about women's safety and empowerment plans? But instead, we get stuck with seat sharing games and husband wife politics. Gen Z, here's your reality check. Politics is a theater. Pressure games versus the real governance. Symbolic women versus the real empowerment. Media stories versus the ground truth. Ask the damn tough questions. Is this constitutional? Is this acceptable? Is this empowerment or just tokenism? Well, learn to see the pattern. When someone says a historic step for women, always ask, who has the actual power? Why did all the two stories go viral online? Because the youth called out the hypocrisy, exposed the double standards, asked the real questions. Aam Aadmi Party's Panchayat web series joke became the perfect meme material. Social media cannot ignore what traditional media hides. In Bihar, Nitish may compromise. 101 or 102 seats formula is likely. The real fight will start after the elections. Opposition pressure will rise, but the real action is unlikely. This may even become a new normal. Yes, committees made rules against the proxy rule, but will they enforce them? These are not just two small cases. They show that patriarchy still rules Indian politics. Whether it's in Bihar power games or Delhi's proxy rule, women are being used as spaces, not as real decision makers. Real empowerment will come only when women truly hold power. The dignity of office is respected. The media takes these cases seriously. So, here's the takeaway. Know the difference between tokenism and the real empowerment. Respect the constitutional rules. Call out the damn double standards. Use your social media power. Make these issues go viral. Keep asking questions and demand accountability. And remember to vote smart. Don't fall for optics, look for outcomes. Real women's representation is not just numbers, it's about effectiveness. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell us in the comments what you think of these two cases. When politics turns into a husband wife team act, that's when the democracy is no longer a single player game.